Please no brass. Please no brass.
Okay,
That's farting.
right.
That's fine. Farting is fine.
I like it. That's the level. It's like, okay, listen, brass section unacceptable. Fart noises,
Yeah.
that's the,
get rid of
on
it.
brand. On brand.
Fart noises on brand.
On brand.
I mean, look, for me they are.
Could you imagine if we had like a manager for the podcast or something like that? He comes in, he's like, all right, guys, listen. We need to stay away from fart noises. We need to stay away from reused condoms. We're trying to get a couple of sponsors in, trying
Unless
to
they're
set some
reshaped.
brands up. Yeah.
Let's make sure they're washed and reshaped first.
That is easily still the most. That's the story that has like got me the most grossed out of all the things that we've talked about. That
so
one was
now I know
by
what to
far
go
the
for.
worst. Oh my god, I said bonk the mic.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, he's just be like, yeah, just trying to set up some brand deals, and you guys are successfully sabotaging every single one.
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
Look, self-sabotage is my specialty, okay?
Self-sabotage is what I excel at.
That's what I do best.
Oh, there you go. Fucking nailed it. Lead us in.
Man.
Lead us in, my dude.
Well, I mean, before, you know what? Fine, I'll do fucking intro.
Yeah.
I had a story for you first because you asked me about my moving out and my roommate stuff. But we'll do this thing instead first. Welcome to NULLSCORE, a podcast where we sometimes run out of ideas for the intro. So just type whatever. My name's Jim, and this is my co-host Hashish. How does it feel to be a Schedule 9 drug?
It's good. Good, man.
Good.
I don't know. Is it Schedule 9 where you are? Is that how they...
In Australia. Yeah. I looked it up.
I think
looked it up.
Commonwealth is Schedule 9. In Queensland, it's Schedule 2. But state and Commonwealth legislation is different. So crim law is state-based in Australia. But there's like Commonwealth national law for like when people try to import it, on planes and shit.
See, what I'm looking at is the Standard for the Uniform Scheduling of Medicines and Poisons, SUS-MP. MP-SUS is an Australian legislative instrument produced by the Therapeutics Goods Administration. This is all bullshit on Wikipedia, so I have no fucking idea how accurate it is, but that's what I looked at. And when I went down to Schedule 9, it says prohibited substance. And hashish is one of the things that is in that list. So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so the Drugs Misuse Act governs illegal drugs in Queensland because you do illegal and restricted. But look, this is not a pharmacological podcast. This is it.
The point is, Hamish is highly illegal.
Yeah, I am very illegal. Yes. Tell me about your roommate. What was the go with this?
Okay. Well.
You know what? When you said that, I had the image. You know that what is it SpongeBob where he does the breathe in? He goes, boy.
Oh yeah, that fucking meme. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's funny because as I look into the camera, I look at the recording rig right now. I kind of look a little bit because I've been in the Patreon games this morning. I streamed for about 4 hours.
I was there for some of that.
I got up at 3 a.m. to join these fucking
Jesus
to start playing at 4 a.m. so that I could join in and not miss anything.
God damn.
Anyway,
dude.
I've got about 4 or 5 hours of sleep, so I'm probably looking a little bit disheveled and not unlike my roommate, how he mostly looked when he was living with me.
There you go. I went to bed at like 1:30 or something like that. I was playing a new game, which I will talk about later because it's been blowing my mind.
I saw you three guys in a channel, and I was like, are they playing Rogue Company? And they didn't even invite me. So I legitimately opened the game and I went to social because I was going to start harassing you. And then I was like, oh, they're not playing this. All right, well, I don't care
They're
then.
not playing Rogue Company. Yeah, no, servers for Rogue were down all weekend. Otherwise, I would have
Jesus
finished that video.
Christ, man.
Yep.
All right, so what do you want to hear about? Like, what?
Well, you
aspect
said
of
you had
this?
something to mention. Like you had this secret that you were sitting on.
So this time moving out, I did not bother to take time off to clean the place because I was like, I know how much cleaning it will require for me to bring this up to a level that I would be happy with. Yeah, and I'm not taking 2 days off work to do that by myself.
Right.
I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not going to ask a partner to put themselves through that much stress at my rental. It's basically my fucking rental property.
Yeah.
That's not up to anyone else to do. unless I pay them to do it. So I paid cleaners to come in and basically do vacate cleaning.
Yeah, bond cleans.
One of the things they found, so every now and then, did I tell you how this guy, I don't know why, man, but he used like coconut oil in fucking everything. Everything that he cooked had coconut oil in. He even used like this coconut oil type thing, whatever the fuck it is, in his coffees. Every single one of his coffees. And he tried to talk me into trying it so many times, like, oh man, it makes it so much creamier and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I the first time that I threw up black bullshit from drinking too much, okay, I had like an entire bottle of Malibu.
Like bile or something, yeah.
So any drink coconut flavored immediately reminds me of vomit and death, dying, what it feels like to be dying. So I can't.
So I refer to those as danger bevs. That's the bev that you smell and you're reminded of some like poor, horrible horrible experience. Yeah. So for me, tequila is a danger bev. I have poor experiences with tequila. So coconut.
See, I got really fucking drunk on tequila a couple times as well and got fucked up, but I wasn't like throwing up black shit into a bathtub. Like,
yes. So Malibu is a danger bev for you.
Malibu's one for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, coconut oil in fucking everything. I'm also fairly certain that he used it in his hair as well, like to style his hair. Somehow
Red has definitely mentioned this. Like oil in
putting
hair
it in your hair is supposed to be good for it. But this guy was using, I'm sure he was using it to style his hair and leave it in. Like, all day. Like,
no, I don't think you're supposed to do that. No,
I don't think so either. There was coconut oil on the door handles to his car. There was coconut oil on the handles to all the doors that he opened in the house. There was coconut oil spilt on floors. Outside the front door that I didn't know, he'd spilt like a fuckload of it, and it was like it's all like oil stain on the pavers out there. It's fucking coconut oil. On top of this, so I've obviously already moved out, and I had done almost a week ago. Like I moved most of my shit end of last week.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he tried to take. There was this huge fucking monitor. It's like a 50 or 55 inch or something monitor. And I say monitor because it's not a TV. It doesn't have a tuner in it. It's one of those old plasma, heavy as fuck things that you see on walls in like bars and shit or medical centers. They just run whatever on. Yeah. It's heavy as fuck, man. I can lift it and carry it. It has handles for that, but it's fucking bulky and heavy.
It's an effort. Yeah.
Now, I left that in my room because it was just being used to hook a laptop up to watch TV, like shows and bullshit while I was, falling asleep.
Sure.
So I left it there until like pretty much last second. I went in there to grab it the other day and there's fucking coconut oil all over in one of the corners next to it in my room that he had no reason to be in. And I was like, that's weird. Coconut oil on both of the fucking handles. Coconut oil smeared across one corner of this monitor. I'm like, did you try and steal this and it was too heavy and you gave up? Or did someone turn up here in the middle and you panicked and fucking fell over into the corner and rubbed your head all over it? What the fuck happened here?
I just like this idea of you being able to trace his whereabouts by virtue of all the coconut oil.
Like rubbing a finger along the wall and then going, yeah, it's coconut oil, it's him.
You're like 20 years, you've had a career change, you're sitting there, some grizzled copper, you got a fucking cigarette in the front of your cruiser. You're like, coconut oil, boys. It's him again.
Smell a hint of coconut oil. He's back.
Call Salmon Forensics. We got a live one.
He's back on the prowl for worthless fucking 55-inch 720p monitors that weigh a fucking ton.
That's it. His entire
that's the specific item that he steals. Only those
low value, heavy items.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is
value ratio.
He had a Getz. He drives a Getz. So there was nowhere for him to put this thing, even if he did want to take it. Maybe that's the point he gave up. He started picking it up and going, wait, where am I going to put this? Oh, fuck.
What if he did pick it up and he did try to load it in his car, then couldn't fit it in his car and then put it back?
Maybe. Maybe that's what happened. I have no idea, man. I have no idea.
The coconut bandit.
So the cleaners called me
The murders
yesterday,
smell like Hawaii.
like lunchtime yesterday, and they were like, yeah, we you know, if possible, we need to charge you an extra $50 if that's all right. I was like, what do you mean? What
I mean,
there was
as
some
a matter
stuff
of
on the walls that
I'd
were
rather
quite
not.
dirty, and we don't know what it was, but it took quite a while to get off. I said, I bet you any money it was coconut oil, and they said, oh yeah, it could have been. I was like, yeah, it was definitely coconut oil. Like, from what it sounds like, it wasn't in your room. I was like, no, it wasn't. I mean, some was, but I didn't put it there.
Yeah. I love that.
God.
They're like, you know that like happens all the time as well with like builders and cleaners and stuff. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry, but need to charge you, blah blah blah. That's a pretty considerate reaction.
'Cause it
Like
took us extra time.
sometimes they just do it and then they give you the bill and then they're like, haha, suck it.
Well, I mean, when they were talking to me like that, I was like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean if it's okay? Like, I was unaware of this thing. You spent extra time dealing with it. If you didn't, I would have had to go clean it anyway. So I feel like it's reasonable to charge that extra and for me to just fucking pay it. Like,
yeah, if you have faith in the fact that they're not like grubby people, then absolutely. Yeah, you want to compensate people for that.
I had a feeling there would be something like this. There would be something that I was unaware of, and then
could smell it coming almost, you could say. I love that. I love that you just like, you now you'll go on like a tropical holiday or something and you'll be like, oh.
Someone's going to be rubbing in like
miserable.
tanning lotion, like that coconut smelling tanning lotion. And we're going to be like, fuck, that $50 extra charge that I got.
Some kid's coming around for trick or treat on Halloween. He's got a bounty bar. He's slapping out of his hands.
You fuck out of here with that shit.
I love it.
Oh, fuck me,
The
dude.
Coconut
It
Bandit.
was some.
But the
Like,
new place,
I don't know.
You're in a temp
I think,
place now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I am. But yeah, it was just so bizarre, man. Like, it's one of the weirdest roommate experiences I've had.
I can imagine.
Living with that guy, fucking hell.
God
He didn't
damn.
seem like a bad guy. Like, he was pretty easy to deal with, but just like
Just strange.
some of the weird shit, and I'd call him out. I'd ask him, like, with the doors being open. Did I talk about that already? I think I might have.
Yeah,
talked
you
about
said
that.
all the doors were open or something.
Yeah, and when I was like, "What happened?" and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, man. I was taking stuff out to my car." I was like, "Well, that explains the back door only. Why was the garage door halfway open?" He's like, "Oh yeah, sorry, man. It won't happen again." I was like, "Well, how did that happen?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. It was just a mistake. I must have not closed it properly." I was like, "Well, no. You have to press the button like twice. You would have to have pressed it while it was closing or opening for that to stop where it did." And he's like, "Yeah, sorry, man. It won't happen again. Are we all good?" I was like, "No, we're not." And he's like, "All right," and he walked off.
I love your response there where you're like, so why was the garage door open? Oh yeah, sorry man, won't happen again. You're like, okay, but that's not the question that I asked you.
Yeah.
The question I asked was
Yeah, like
yeah.
you're not answering me.
I do that as like with clients and stuff sometimes. I'll be like, can you tell me more about
It's
this?
very simple to answer. Can you tell me? And they're like, no, yeah. And then they deflect. But they deflect in the worst possible fucking... Like, it's not even really a deflection. It's just they're flat out not answering you.
Yeah, no, I'll be like, I'll basically, like, I'll see something in their history, right? And their history tells me, like, what the offense was and what the punishment was that they received. So I don't know what the facts of the charge were, right?
Yep.
So sometimes I'll look back at it and it's relevant because sometimes if you've got, like some of the stupidest shit that people do, right? And this happens a lot. And it makes sense when you really think about it, but at first, like, at face value, you might not believe it. People will go back and do the same crime to the same stranger more than once, right? Now, the reason why I specify stranger is if you were like got into fights with your mate or whatever all the time, and then you had a bunch of assault charges, right? Maybe you and your mate really don't get along, okay?
Yeah,
But like people will rob the same house twice in 6 months, right? And they won't know the person. They won't have any other relationship with them. They'll just rob the same place. And that's relevant for me
look,
because
that's smart though, because look, you go in there the first time, you weren't successful. You got caught. Fair enough. But the second time, you know the layout now. Now you know what it's like inside there.
You've already cased
maybe
the
you
joint.
get away with it. Maybe you'll get away with it this time.
Well, see, here's the thing, right? Because
Or smarter again,
you
don't fucking break into
or
people's
just don't
houses.
break into people's houses. Yeah. Like the trouble is on sentence, if you do the same shit again, right? It's like a lack of remorse. So the judge will they'll give you a harsher sentence. So when I see it,
you can't use the excuse of, it's my first time. Can you go easy on me? Like you literally did the exact same thing to the same house.
Well, that's it, right? So that's like both levels of that aggravating factor. It's like, yeah, you did the same thing again. Not only that, but you did it to the same fucking person. Like you clearly haven't learnt your lesson, right? So sometimes
this person
I have
has
to look
to
at
move
history.
now. Like they have to move.
Yeah. So like sometimes I have to look at a history and I'll ask them, I'll be like, hey, can you tell me more about this burglary charge? And they're like, oh yeah, I got a fine. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I know that. But I need you to tell me more about the burglary charge. And they're like, oh yeah, I broke into someone's house. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. Like, there's 2 bits of information that I already have. Okay? I need you to tell me something that I don't know about that charge. And you get it to the
Tell me
point
the parts
where
that are missing, please.
Yeah,
Tell
they
me
will
the bits,
give you
fill in the blanks for me.
Yeah, they will answer the question in ways where it's like, you know, you'll ask me like, can you tell me like what was the go with this house? And they're like, oh, I jumped through a window. I'm like, okay, who owns the house? And they're like, oh, well, I ended up getting a fine for it. I'm like, no, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
it's dismissive. They're trying to misdirect and they're trying to like dismiss it as quickly as possible. They're trying to stop talking about it as quickly as possible.
I spend
because a lot of people will when you talk to people like that, they think that if they keep doing that, you're going to stop asking. Because a lot of people will, you know, they just stop asking like, oh well, he doesn't want to tell me, so I'm not going to chase that anymore. But that's your job.
That's literally my job. That's
job.
my job. Like I spend 40 hours a week around people that either A, lie to me, or B, speak in an incredibly precise manner, right? You speaking in like a weird kind of opaque broad terms will not work. Like I'm not the person to do that with. I'm just exposed to that level. It's a problem because like in my social life, people will try and explain stuff and then I'll get too caught up on the why they did the thing rather than just enjoy the story. But in work, it's a thing. People will try and avoid questions and that sort of business. In any event, Coconut Bandit aside and weird questions on one side.
Coconut Bandit.
Rogue Company. You and I have been having a heap of fun with that lately.
That last night was a bit rough, man. I think the first match what happened was Stolt joined us and he was very, very new. That was his first match ever.
Yeah, and
he hadn't played against
remember
AI
your first
yet,
couple of matches? It's tricky. It's really so explain.
Well, I played against AI a bit. My first couple of matches weren't great, but I feel like I picked up on it pretty quickly and then we started just winning.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know Rogue Company recently did the rounds on Twitter because it received a huge boost in the public eye due to some endorsement from the doc. Basically, what happened was Rogue Company partnered up with Dr. Disrespect and they made a map called the Arena, which is the doc's, you know, fictional home. It's his home. Well, it's not fictional. It's home turf, you know, blah, blah, blah. They also did a skin in his likeness and a dance, and he fully voices the character as well. So really proper. They put the doc in the game.
They did it properly. They did a really fucking good job, man.
Yeah.
Of bringing everything sort of his stream is into that game.
Yeah. They're
like,
doing
whether you like him or not. A lot of effort has gone into getting things right, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's a very good match as well. Because the doc has a very strong personality, right? And he's a very eccentric personality. So if you put that in a hero shooter, that's perfect. Because you need strong archetypes to sort of separate in that sort of sphere. For those of you that haven't played Rogue Company, by the way, I got distracted. It's a tactical shooter produced by Hi-Rez Studios. Hi-Rez are the same guys that made Paladins, Realm Royale, and what's it called? Smite. Yeah.
Yep.
And much like the way that Smite attempted to revolutionize the MOBA genre, I say attempted because Smite's player base is not good.
No.
They applied it to a tactical shooter in that they made it from a third-person perspective. So the best way that I can explain it to someone that has not seen any gameplay is it's basically Valorant with a third-person over-the-shoulder perspective that you can swap. So you can swap shoulder to shoulder. There's a key that will let you do that. And it plays a little bit differently to how you would expect. And there's a couple of quirks that you really need to get the hang of. Things like peeking over walls with the camera rather than your face. But once you start to get the hang of it, it's an absolute blast. It
is a lot of fun.
Yeah, you and I have been playing it. We've been getting a couple of guys that I know, Scarlett and Terry, in there. We had Stolt in there as well. And it's got a very hero shootery vibe, but just a really good game to sort of just play with your mates, I think. Like just to have an evening of it. I would not recommend playing Rogue Company by yourself.
Yeah, don't play with randoms.
There's an emphasis on teamwork that obviously benefits through the use of comms. But so far, my experience of the community has been very reminiscent of the FPS crowd generally, in that it's very... the FPS crowd's like a couple of notches below League. Like, whereas League will... League players will actively abuse you for nothing. Like, League players will actively attack you without prompt. FPS players won't engage with you generally unless you engage with them. From what I've observed in Rogue Company. But you had a different experience. I'm leaning
That's
into
one
this
way to
thing
put
you're
it.
talking about with the dock.
Well, see, I only put here in the only thing I put in the script is that I streamed with the dock skin and didn't get banned. Oh, then I added, but I did get abused. I added that later and then forgot about it. Yeah. So it was late. I couldn't sleep. You guys had all gone to bed. It's like, well, fuck it. I'll just jump on and play another couple matches for fun. It was not fun. I played one match. I joined and I
will jump on and play for fun. It was not fun.
I was thinking, do I want to play a different character? And I was like, no, I've been using this guy, this Dallas. So we're like, fuck it. I'll use him and stick to what I already know I can play. I had the dock skin on, and the emotes and shit. As soon as we were at that screen, like I locked in Dallas, so that's all anyone else can see is that I'm Dallas.
Dallas.
As soon as we were at that,
like if you haven't picked up on context clues, he's got like a lever action and a revolver. His kit's very like, shoot from the hip, yaha, cowboy sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But anyway,
kind of.
He's the character who's the dock skin basically like he's the character that the dock skin works with. That's the character.
So use him as a base character, and then you can effectively play as the dock. Yeah.
Yep. I was using the dock skin. We got to that intro video thing where it like runs through everyone who's on your team, and as soon these two guys on the team, one was just silent the entire time. The other two, as soon as they saw that I was playing as the dock, when people have shitty headset mics and they start yelling into it, or they get really close and you can like hear their breath going through the mic. That was what was coming through the mic, and they were screaming fuck off. Just
really?
Fuck off. Yes. As soon as they saw those skins.
Wow. So do you think it's because they didn't like the dock generally, or you think maybe they wanted to play it, or
they never explained. They never explained. They never explained why.
Sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, they just started screaming "fuck off" and like just leave, shit like that.
Wow.
So we get into the first match. I'm like, oh fucking hell, this is gonna go well, isn't it?
Yeah, we are on a great foot to start with. Let's go.
So we're supposed to be defending both points. We started on defense on the arena. Of course, it was that match.
Okay, at this point, I should explain. The basic game mode of Rogue Company is a 4v4 tactical shooter, but the main game mode, Demolition, plays a lot like CSGO. There's 2 bomb sites, 1 bomb, 1 team's attacking, 1 team's defending. And I think it's like a 3-minute timer.
There's a couple other game modes, but that's the one that I think most people play anyway. Demolition.
That's the big one. Yeah.
So anyway, we're defending.
So you're defending.
I'm holding long. I think it's which is it? The one that's like downstairs, like as far downstairs as you can get. Is that B side? I can't remember. Off the top of my head.
Which map are you on?
The arena.
Oh, okay. So you're on the arena. Yeah. So B. Yeah, way down the bottom. There's a big courtyard sort of open area with long lines of sight.
So I'm way down the bottom, as far away from them as I can be. Mm-hmm. And this guy's using, is it Demas or whatever the fuck? The dude with the face mask
is the guy with the
thing.
grenade launcher, yeah.
Yep. As soon as we get in, he blows me up and knocks me. I'm like, oh, good, great. Our random, who hasn't said anything this whole time, uses his drone to pick me up.
Yep.
While it is picking me up, he throws another explosive onto me and finishes me and blows the drone up.
Wow. Wow. So he like properly went for it. The big grief.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
This is almost midnight, so I'm like, all right, I don't care. I just closed the game. I alt F4'd the game. Like I don't care. I'm just gonna go to bed.
Yep.
And I was like, maybe I'm being a bit fucking like, that's a very small sample size. One match, it's a very small sample size. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Opened the game back up again. Get to the login screen. It loads me back into the same match. Don't get a chance to click on anything. Throws you straight back in the same match.
Yep.
So it's like, all right, well, if I'm going to be placed in with these guys, I'm going to record what the fuck happens from here on out. So I brought OBS back up and started recording. And then there is footage, which will probably be edited down into the best bits. But they spent the rest of the match unhappy that I existed, asking me why I bought the skins. I never spoke to them once. I never said anything to them. I just like spammed crouch here and there when they were like lining me up for shots and things. I used the emotes a couple of times.
Yeah, they've got a dance emote, which is the Doc's dance emote.
His weird fucking dance that he
weird
does.
Fucking
like, the silhouette
swirly
thing. He turns on like... He puts his green screen on. There's like a crowd behind him, and then there's a silhouette.
Yeah,
it's all that bullshit. Anyway, they tried to blow me up another time. They flatly refused to pick me up when I got knocked. Fuck, what else, man? When the match was over, after it was all done, and we ended up winning somehow.
I think you're dropping out at my end. I think it's my connection.
Okay, looks like my connection's all good, so I don't know.
Oh, I can hear you back now.
Okay.
I just lost you for a second.
All right. Yeah, we ended up winning. Right at the end, though, after we'd won, I used the emote again, and the guy starts screaming the same thing, like, nah, fuck off, get out. Get the fuck. They were so upset. I don't know why.
I can't believe it. That's insane.
They sounded like, honestly, man, they sounded like teenagers anyway, like late teens. Because one of them chucked out the classic Dr. disrespects his wife, which is what, from last year or early this year or whenever.
There's a bit of an old meme.
Old joke by now. Like, anyway. Yeah. And then after all this, after the match was over and everything, I had a pop-up saying, deserting timeout or something like that. But basically, I got punished. I got a 3-minute timer that I had to wait before I could queue again because I left the match. But there was no way for me to report these guys for team killing or any sort of toxic behavior. There's nothing.
Wow.
So I was like, how the fuck does this make sense? This doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's nuts, dude. That's nuts. Holy shit. Well, there you go. So maybe the FPS community is on par with League as far as toxicity is concerned. Especially
how much Call of Duty have you played, dude? You should know that.
Listen, I played Modern Warfare 2 lobbies back in the day. That was trial by fire. Nowadays COD lobbies are pretty tame. Like the old school, like
Mostly.
open mic during the like loading in lobby.
Because moderation is way more intense now. Like people actually get fucking permanently banned for shit. So
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you look back at some of the stuff that was said and you can imagine like, I think a good 80-90% of Modern Warfare 2 was just like good old fashioned trash talk.
people
And
trash
then
talk
like
each other. Yeah.
and then like 5% of it was just like kind of just like the hateful repetitive garbage, like, oh, you're like they'll just repeat one slur over
the same
and over
thing
and over
over and over and over.
and then 5% is like really bad, like really like death threats and like racist stuff, you know. And I think that 5% looks so bad in clips and whatnot that they have to up the moderation.
There's nothing better than beating someone so badly over and over and over that they actually make the effort to message you and say that they're going to report you for cheating and shit. It's like, yeah, dude. All
They
right.
sent you the voice recordings on Xbox Live.
See, I didn't. I always played on PS3, so people would send you a friend request or something first. It's like, I wonder
see.
what. I wonder what he wants.
A friend request. Yeah, no, those are classics. There's a lot of really good videos out there of that sort of stuff happening, and they always have very clickbaity titles. Rage game, blah blah blah, Modern Warfare, blah blah blah. It's a big meme. Halftime, Jim.
Half time already.
You smell
Would
that?
you like a cup of coffee that'll make every other coffee you try taste like a bitter cup of bin water?
Funnily enough, not really. I think I'd still like to experience other coffee, but I appreciate the value. Would you like a cup of coffee that will give you the power to cook a chicken breast with just the kinetic force of your slaps?
Your slaps.
Yeah. So if you slap something, kinetic energy gets converted to heat energy. So how many times do you reckon you have to slap a chicken to cook it?
To roast a chicken.
Yeah.
Are we talking like both hands either side, or are we just like we're sitting it up on a stick and just like fucking winding up and like one fucking arm?
I don't mind. Any technique is okay as long as it's not mechanically assisted.
Oh man, I got to get my fucking backhanded pimp smack practiced up.
You're not going to go with the speedball, like the boxing speedball.
Oh, the fucking Jesus Christ. How about a cup of coffee that'll curb the homicidal urges you have when your workmates ask you the same stupid questions over and over that they could spend 30 seconds figuring out for themselves?
Or questions they've already asked you. That's the worst. Like questions they've
the
asked
same day
you before.
or the day previous. I get that shit at work all the time. There's a guy who's been doing it a lot lately, and now when he comes and asks me a question, he reads the expression on my face, and sometimes halfway through he stops asking and he says, I've already asked you this, haven't I? I'm like, yes. And then he'll look at it for a few seconds and then he'll tell me like, oh, and then he'll tell me the answer to his own question. Like, yes. Yep. And then he leaves the room. Thank you. The fuck out of my office.
I'm really bad for like putting shit around my house. Like I'll ask Red, I'll be like, hey, have you seen my keys or something? She's like, yes, they're on the kitchen bench. And I'm like, oh, great. Right. Like I'm really bad for that sort of stuff.
You're that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. Yeah. But back when
I lost my wallet. Can you see? Yes, it's right there in front of you. It's sitting literally in your line of sight.
Yeah. Back when I used to work in a cafe, though, we used to get that all the time. They're like, hey, how do you enter this into the POS system? And I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. No worries. You just go here. Like, don't worry about it. And they're like, great, thanks. And then the next shift, they're like, hey, how do you enter this into the POS system? I'm like, all right, well, look, this menu, and then you go here. Do you remember how to do this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, because I showed you yesterday, and we went through this. He's like, yeah, I know. I just forgot. Like, I'm new. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. Like, I get it. Takes a while.
All right.
Go away.
Yeah.
Next day. Hey, man, I tried to put it in, but I couldn't find it, so I just put something else in instead. And I'm like,
no, that's not okay.
That's not the thing that I was after, yeah. Would you like a cup of coffee that ironically threatens your life while simultaneously improving it?
Oh, that sounds exciting. Yes.
Well, Killer Coffee can do some of these things, but not all. We are not actually sponsored by Killer Coffee. Keep that in mind. But it is a great cup of coffee.
I have to get Eyehole Man his coffee. I have a bit of both kinds ready to give to him. I just need to get the containers. I need to find my containers and and hand them over.
Nice, dude. Yeah, Killer Coffee is a good meme. They do really, really good stuff. I'm a big fan. And smooth as well. We've said it before on the podcast, but you'd expect for a really strong coffee to be really quite bitter, but no. Very, very smooth. It will, however, run your guts like a freight train. Like, you have about 20 to 40 minutes from drinking a cup of Killer Coffee before breakfast goes.
Yeah, it can do. I think it really depends what you have it with, though. Like, I have mine with... I've been having it with that fucking Coffee Mate shit.
Oh.
And...
that works well?
Well, look, I don't have as many explosive shits. So...
So it's a turn for the positive.
It doesn't taste as good as using full cream milk, but, also I don't permanently stain the porcelain bowls at work, so...
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about the Black Ops 2 event, or would you want to talk about some of the other things that we've got here?
I put it there, and then that's like, after typing that, I was like, oh man, I'm really fucking hungry. I'm going to go organize some food now. And I forgot to actually look, because I saw this earlier in the week. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to talk about. And then didn't do any research into it at all. I just know that it happened.
Okay, so the doc did a Black Ops 2 event in 2020. We don't know what happened. Maybe we'll tell you next week.
The reason it caught my eye was, firstly, it's Black Ops 2. I'm like, what? That game's like 100 years old. What the fuck is he doing? Then I saw that in the doc's team, he also had Stone Mountain 64. I was like, man,
Stone Mountain.
That'd be cool to watch.
Pog.
Stone Mountain and Doc. I haven't seen them playing together. I've seen them fight each other in Apex.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen them playing together before and communicating. I feel like they'd be really fun to watch bounce off each other. But yeah, I didn't look any of it up. I haven't seen any of the footage. I just know that it happened. So that's my fault for leaving that in the script. I should have deleted it. Do you want to talk about your experience with Final Fantasy 14? Fucking weeb.
Let me break this down. All right. So up until very recently, so the guys that I've played games with the longest in recent memory, it's me, Scarlett, and Terry, right? Or Terracore. And I've known these guys for like 6 years now, and we sort of always try and like get ourselves in and play some games, right? Traditionally, we've always played League together until more recently we were playing a lot of ranked League, and I'm grumpy. Like, I'm angry all the time when I'm playing League, after League, or thinking about League. It's no good, right? I think it's mainly because it's ranked. If you play casual, it's much better, but like, it's not even the people. Like, sometimes it's just the game itself can be very, very frustrating. And I wasn't really happy with like how I was behaving when I was like with League. So I was just like, fuck it, I'm quitting the game, right? I left it. And for like a week, I didn't play any games with the boys at all, right? Because I was like, I'm not playing any more League, right? And then I wanted to get in and play some more games because it's like it's the boys, right? Like, you want to go out and hang with the boys. You want to play some games with the boys. And I was like, listen, let's play some games. I don't really want to play League. And they're like, oh, well, we could, they had a couple of other suggestions from games we played, but they're like, yeah, we've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy earlier, but like, we know you don't play MMOs. And I'm sitting here and I was like, my brain was like, I don't usually play MMOs, but like, that's the game that they're playing. And I figure if I am going to get into one, I may as well do it while my mates are playing it. Yeah? Because from all the accounts I've heard of people playing MMOs, a good portion of the enjoyment that comes from them playing that game is the community or the relationships that they have with other people that play the game, like the people in their guild, or how they cooperate doing raids and yada yada yada, that stuff, right? You have to understand, I have never played an MMO, right? I think very briefly I played like a WoW private server with my mate for like 2 weeks, and I very vaguely remember the content of that. and I played a little bit of RuneScape, like when I was.
I heard
11.
very briefly, and then you dropped out for me for a solid 5 seconds.
Oh, okay. So I played World of Warcraft very briefly with a mate. I also very briefly played RuneScape. But my knowledge of MMOs generally is poor. Very, very poor. Mm-hmm. My experience with them is mostly limited to me watching Asmongold vids. Like him talking about other shit whilst he's playing the game. So I thought that I would come on a podcast and talk about a couple of things I thought was really interesting, because I'm about 12 hours in, right? Mm-hmm. Just this weekend. Yeah. I've just been mainlining it this weekend. And there's a couple of things that I've already noticed that really sort of take it above and beyond, right? That puts it in a whole other category. I understand why MMO people are MMO people now, right? Mm-hmm. The best way I can put it, just at the outset, is that playing a tactical FPS like CSGO is like driving a go-kart, right? It is bare bones basics, right? But the skill in racing go-karts especially is in the precision and in the way that you perform those very simple movements, right? I'm not saying that simple is easier. I'm saying that simpler means you have less things to manage. And so the capacity for you to polish those to an incredibly,
mate, your internet's dropping out fucking hard.
Is way, way, way up, right? And
your internet's been cutting you out like most of that.
Oh, really? I'll run it again. Where did they cut out? Like go-karts?
Skill involved in driving go-karts.
Yeah, so the skill involved in driving go-karts is analogous to the skill in an FPS, right? Because it's very simple. Like there's not a lot of components, but those simple components can be polished to a near perfect level. Did you catch me there?
For fuck's sake.
Is it just dropping in and out?
It's just dropping out constantly, yeah.
Oh my God. It must be just like a middle of the day thing. I hope it's not. I'll just check and make sure that I'm not downloading anything or anything like that. Yeah, okay. I'm going to try this for a third time, okay? Very simple FPS gameplay, yeah? Mm-hmm. But because of its simplicity, it's very easy to tell the difference in skill between players, because the components there are just broken up and you can polish them to an incredible level. Yeah?
Yep.
MMO is on the complete opposite end of the scale, right? There is like a whole bunch of shit that you have to manage at any one point just to like pilot the car, like just to start the car. To give you some kind of insight, so we picked up Final Fantasy 14 online, right? It is basically it's a Final Fantasy MMO actually. There's no real way of breaking it down. That's what it is. Yeah. Yep. And I picked a class which is called a Black Mage, right? Like a dark sorcery kind of type. It's a very RPG heavy, right? And their mechanic basically revolves around them doing a heap of damage in one phase and then recuperating and regenerating their mana. And you swap between these two phases using the abilities that you have in your skill set, right? That's how that character functions at a core level, right? However, on either side of those, either side of that coin, they split it up into fire and ice. You're in a fire mode when you're doing damage and ice mode when you're recuperating. There's like 15 abilities either side, and each of them have a place. Like each of them do a thing and can be used in a sequence, which is called, I think it's called your rotation. So you go through each of your abilities and you rotate through them in succession, right? And the way that you do that is you use the keys 1 to 9 on your keyboard, but you also use Shift and Control to create alternate 1 through 0 sets of abilities. And you need all three of them, right? So rather than a shooter where you have WASD, shift, space, right click, left click, and you're pretty much good to go. There's like 30 keys I have to manage at the outset. And it was just mind-boggling to sort of get in there and kind of pilot that and see that level of mastery. Like, I get why there's a heap of time invested in MMOs just to get that down pat. It was insane to see. Like, I've been playing for a little bit. I think I've got a general idea as to what I'm doing. I'm sure I'm still shit. I'm positive. But it was very, very new thing to experience. The other thing that blew my mind, that I've never seen in an MMO, or I haven't played MMOs before, is the sheer scale of the environment, right? Like, you play single player games like The Witcher, and that environment's just massive, massive, massive. And then these places are bigger again. Just like nuts huge. And then there's like quests all over the shop with dudes that have dialogue and everything. It was just, the scale of it blew my mind. From somebody that's never played an MMO. And I know a lot of people are kind of like, yeah, Hamish, that's what it is on the fucking description. Massive, massive multiplayer role-playing game. But I think just getting in there and getting my hands dirty with it, I kind of just had an appreciation for the scale of it, right? Now, I haven't got into any of the serious stuff like end game content and raiding and whatnot. But it's been really, really fun. I've been a bit of massive breath of fresh air. I've been up till like 1:30 both nights this weekend. Just playing.
Jesus.
Smashing it out. It's been really, really... And I usually go to bed really early. I usually go to bed like 10 p.m. most nights because I'm just fucking tired from the gym and stuff, which is like the weirdest flex that I've ever put down, by the way. Like, I'd go to the gym to lose weight. It's not like I'm fucking ripped or anything like that.
Getting ripped.
Yeah, I'm so muscly, dude. I bench 300. Yeah. Oh, so good. Reps and sets. But yeah, so I can definitely see it being a time sink. I don't know whether I want to make content for it yet, because I don't know if I understand it well enough.
Yeah.
It's also just...
Well, that's the thing. Because of the scale of those games, like trying to wrap your head around absolutely fucking everything, I feel like the only guys who ever do that properly are unemployed typically. Like,
yeah, they're no-lifers.
They have nothing. They do nothing except for play that game. Play the absolute shit out of this one game from however many perspectives there are possible. Different factions, different classes... different builds for the same classes. Like, these guys do all that shit, and then they start like sort of talking about it. Then they're in a position to tell other people how to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just so much knowledge that you need to have. Like, that's the biggest thing that I think really blows my mind with MMOs is MMOs really, really emphasize knowledge over raw skill. Knowing how to do something is incredibly valuable compared to just being able to execute it, which is, the exact opposite for something like a tactical shooter. A tactical shooter has like a 90%, 80% focus on execution. In my personal opinion, I'm sure there are coaches that will tell me different, but
Well, maybe instead of saying tactical shooter, the opposite might be something like Quake.
Quake's a arena shooter.
Just fast, just fast. It rewards quick reactions.
Well, there you go. Actually, that's probably a better example. Yeah. Yeah, Quake is... Yeah, you got to be, have an IV with monster energy going through your veins. Oh, my God. Oh, I totally forgot. Dude, I found a thing on the internet that I think that you will enjoy. Oh, my God. Oh, where is it? Yeah. So basically, right, I'm completely diverting from the whole Final Fantasy thing.
All right.
Okay, but here's the thing. I found a video of it was you know what it was? It was a meme, right? It was a meme, and it was this big, heavy set black bloke, right? And he had a life straw. Do you know what a life straw is?
No.
Okay, Life Straw was this product made by, I forget who it was. It was a charity of some description, but it's a straw with a filter in it. So the idea is that you can drink from polluted or dirty streams, and it would give you potable, drinkable water.
I think I have seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, great thing to produce. Like, I think they're like super cheap. You like donate, and then they send them out to kids in Africa or families and blah 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 blah. Right?
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy goes to the ocean. And he uses a life straw, and he starts like sipping through the life straw, right? But because he's such a big dude, they're like, yeah, he's going to chug the ocean, right? So the whole meme was that he drank the entire ocean through this straw. And I was like, haha, funny meme, right? And then there was like a little YouTube link underneath to this guy's YouTube channel. And I was like, hold on. This is a thing? Turns out there's this bloke's name's Badlands Chugs, right? I've just sent you a DM with a YouTube video. And his whole channel is just him chugging stuff. That's his thing. He just drinks stuff. So this video I just sent you, he gets like every flavor of Mountain Dew and puts it in a comically large wine glass and chugs it.
When you say heavy set black bloke,
yeah,
what you mean is the guy's entire neck through to top of his head area looks like a toe.
He looks like Big Smoke. He looks like the guy from GTA. And he did.
Holy
He's got a video
shit.
where he does the drive-through order. So yeah, his whole thing is he just does chug videos. He's got a tutorial about how to chug like him. It's fantastic. And by the way, this part I didn't mention for you listeners at home, but Titan may have worked out for yourself. This is not a small channel. He's got 2.38 million subs.
This video that you sent me, so he's got 2.38 mil subs, yeah, but this video that you sent me,
Yep.
Mountain Dew, every dew chug in a giant wine glass. Looks like the idea is that he's grabbed pretty much every flavor of Mountain Dew that there is there. He's putting it all in a massive fucking wine glass, and then he's going to chug the entire thing. This has 4.9 million views.
Yeah, it does. It does. Hey, if you skip to 3:35 in the video, by the way, you see what the end result is. Like the color
Of all
the
these
liquid.
things being poured into,
Yeah.
like brown or something. It'll be horrible.
It's like a deep purple. And it's something around like 2,300 calories in that one chug. For those of you that maybe you don't count calories or you're unfamiliar with how that works, I'm doing with the gym, they're trying to get me to lose weight. So they have me on 1,600 calories a day, 1,600 or to 1,800, depending on how hard you're working out, right? And that's like small portioned meals, but I still eat 3 meals a day and 2 snacks. Yeah? I eat very specific stuff, but that's what I eat. 2,300 in one chug is more than my entire day's eating. Like 150% of it.
Does this fucking guy look like he counts calories to you?
He does not look like he counts calories. His most viewed video, by the way, is a 10-can Sprite cranberry chug, which has 13.2 million views. And the top comment, opposite of clickbait title, says 10 cans and my boy throws in 11. I'm so glad I found this. I'm so glad. This is like...
See,
this is a gem.
what this is like, this reminds me of like years and fucking years ago. The first time that I watched Idiocracy, and I was like, man, this is scary because this could people could go this way. Hopefully they won't. I mean, things don't seem like they will go this way. But like the more things that I see, like what you've just shown me, it seems like that's where we're going. Just banner ads on fucking everything. The dumbest TV shows and YouTube channels are the most popular. Stupid behaviors rewarded and celebrated. Like, this is entertaining for sure.
He did it in 1 minute and 55 seconds, by the way. 10 cans of Sprite Cranberry. What an absolute monster.
Well, I mean, it's on one hand, it's impressive. On the other, it's like, why?
On the other hand, it's incredibly disappointing.
I mean, this poor bastard, like, how long do you think before he has diabetes doing shit like this? If he doesn't already.
He's definitely on the way. He's on his way out.
Like, after he chugged that big thing, I guarantee you, old mate came in with the fucking needle to, jab him, give him his fucking insulin shot.
Yeah. So totally off topic, not even in the script, but I found him like 2 days ago and I had to share. So for those of you that have not seen him before, we will leave links in the Discord. I'll make sure I put a comment on the NULLSCORE video for it so you can see, check him out. Oh fuck, what's his name? Like King Chugs or something? So oh god. His name is Badlands Chugs. It's a spectacle.
Well, that's the video you sent me. I'm just going to drop it in podcast links. That's the fucking video you sent to me.
Yeah,
so
incredible. It's like
I don't know about that.
When your teachers tell you about doing one thing incredibly well, this guy picked the wrong thing. And it's just
he absolutely picked the wrong thing.
It's just insane. Very, very cool.
Why didn't you do your homework? I was busy practicing chugging.
Yeah,
what do you mean?
Excuse
I can
me?
do like 6 cans of Coke, like in a tub, in an ice cream bucket, and I just fucking slammed that whole thing down. Can you do that, miss? No, I didn't think so.
And like putting to one side the fact that he's, ingesting just such a severe amount of liquid, like the carbonation in that must cause some next level bloating. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh,
insane. Insane.
This
very,
guy
very...
farts a lot for sure.
Oh, yeah. He's just a gas factory. But with 2.38 million subs, I mean, ad revenue's got to be good, right? Because God knows he's probably not getting sponsorships.
No. Imagine Mountain Dew sponsorship. They wouldn't want to because they'd be
they wouldn't.
We absolutely can't promote this. Please don't do this. Don't drink this many in all at once.
Mountain Dew contains caffeine. There's no way they would be able to do it.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. It's caffeinated. Mountain Dew's caffeinated. So he's probably just had like 6 shots of coffee by virtue of that chug as well.
In a massive wine glass.
Not to mention the sugar. Holy Christ.
Yeah, that's intense, man. Like,
yeah, good luck. If he survives, then, you did.
I mean, he has survived because he's still fucking alive.
He's still uploading.
For how long, who knows? But he's going to fucking go the way of Big Kev and Billy Mays eventually, I'd say.
Probably. I will talk briefly about the DMCA situation because I feel like I feel like it's more of the same. Do you get that impression?
It kind of is.
Well, okay. So I'll tell you what. I'll fill listeners in. So recently, Twitch streamers have been deleting huge piles of clips and VODs because the threat of DMCA claims on Twitch has been raised again. There was a second round where Twitch basically deleted a whole bunch of content because it was possible DMCA claims. And it's very much what we were experiencing in YouTube's early days, now being applied to Twitch. Now, what we're seeing is slightly different to the YouTube sphere in that the YouTube sphere, they would divert revenue. revenue would be diverted. And so what would happen as a result is false claims would be made and then revenue would be falsely diverted. And that's how companies abused it. Twitch doesn't have the same systems to divert revenue that YouTube has. And so people are getting what's called takedown notices instead. Takedown notices basically give them a 3 strikes and you're out sort of situation. And streamers are shitting themselves. People are deleting decades, even, of clips and VODs. Is that sort of the scene that you were seeing?
Yeah. I saw a lot of people saying that I'm deleting all my stuff.
Yeah.
And then they were saying like, oh, it sucks. We can't have these things up. You know, I wish Twitch would blah, blah, blah. A few people were saying like, why don't you just download them and put them somewhere else?
Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, one, it's a lot of content. Like, it does take a while, and I kind of sympathize with them there.
I feel like that's what it is. It's too much effort for them to download and re-upload fucking everything.
Yeah.
So they would rather just delete the whole lot of it and then complain about it.
One of the things that I want to sort of raise with, I don't know, the community at large is an argument that I see all the time, right? Which is, this is a clip from 4.5 years ago, and that's going to get my channel banned. Here's the thing, right? When you're creating content on Twitch, it's not like you're creating loaves of bread, right? Your bread does not become stale and moldy and unusable as bread as time goes on. Those clips still retain a good majority of the value, being entertainment in the video format that they're presented, long after they are originally recorded and archived, right? People complaining about super old clips getting claimed, this doesn't make any sense, right? Just because it took the company a really long time to find the copyright breach doesn't mean that they're any less likely to claim you for it. This is running on the assumption that it is a fair claim. If you want to bitch and moan about the fact that it was unfair or they didn't take into account fair use, that's fine. But the length of time that passes between a clip being posted and a clip being claimed is irrelevant entirely, in my professional opinion. Does that make sense? Do I sound like an asshole when I say that?
No, I think... Look, just because a clip was there for 4 years doesn't mean that your use of music or whatever in it was any less illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
You still did something you knew you were not supposed to. You flew under the radar for 4 years. Lots of people probably watched that clip. It may have brought in new viewers, new supporters to your channel, your community, whatever. You've gotten value out of having that clip there.
Yeah.
And because you had this music or whatever playing in the background, it was video, doesn't matter whatever the fuck it was, you have benefited from that. So if they then say, look, we want you to get rid of this, I feel like that's not a huge deal. It shouldn't be a huge fucking deal. It's different if they're saying, well, you've made money off this thing that doesn't belong to you, belongs to us, so give us money. Even that, I don't know about the word fair, but legal. It's legal. They can do that. They can ask you to pay for their work that they are using in it doesn't matter how you cut it. It's a commercial, really, it could be argued that it's a commercial use because you're using it to make money off.
It is. It is a commercial use. That's what it is. And I sympathize with people that are genuinely the victims of vexatious claims, right? One of the most interesting ones I saw was a 30-second clip from Jake and Bake. Are you familiar with Jake and Bake?
No.
He's an IRL live streamer. For a while, he lived in Japan, but he was the poster child for actual IRL streamers back when the IRL section basically contained the for lack of a better term, booby streamers, right?
Yeah.
And that's nothing against the people that stream now. I'm just speaking to a point in history when that was a big thing and that was a term to be used. If you have got assets that can be to your benefit, then go ahead and use them. I've got nothing against you, right?
Yep.
I have to say that in today's day and age. He had a clip back then where he got pinged for some music in a 30-second clip, and it was music playing out of a clothing store. So he walked past a clothing store and they were playing, I think it was Kanye stuff, and he got claimed for it. And he was like, "Are you serious?" Like, well, you know, the what is it? The JJ is, "Are you serious?" Like, it was insane. It was insane to see.
Well, I kind of get what he's saying, but at the same time, like, you have to be conscious of that.
It's also, like it's if the excuse was simply that, oh, you're an IRL streamer, you can just do whatever you want, why wouldn't you just park your ass next to a giant pair of speakers and then use yourself as a radio station? Yeah. Like, obviously a terrible waste of your time, but some people would probably enjoy it. It's the internet. Friggin' Badlands chugs exist.
I saw someone complain, all this DMCA shit gonna kill my stream's vibe. Won't be able to just play some games with friends and chill to Kanye or Snoop Dogg anymore. Rip. Something like that. And I remember reading it and thinking, you fucking moron. You can still do those things. You just can't stream them and make money off them anymore. You never were. It was never legal for you to do that in the first place.
No. You just been getting away from it.
You can fucking play games with your friends and listen to Snoop Dogg and Kanye in the fucking Discord. You just can't be broadcasting it live and making money off it. That's all.
Yeah.
That's perfectly reasonable, isn't it? You want to, like, if you think that music enhances your stream somehow, then maybe a rework of the way licensing works. There's an argument to be made for that.
Yeah.
Where, you know, there's some sort of bulk license and you can opt in, you can like pay X amount a month to be allowed to use the music on your broadcast, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think saying, oh, they should just back off and let us play the music free of charge. No, they don't have to do that at all.
No. They don't. It's just, it's wild. The other thing that I also have to raise, because I feel obligated as the legal professional in the room, is if an artist posts on Twitter and says, "Use my music, I will never issue a copyright strike against you," that does not give you free reign to play their music on stream. Oh, but Hamish, they gave me permission to do so. That's not how it works. From the label. So there are two bits. Like, copyright of a song breaks down into infinite components, right? Not infinite, but there's like 22 different little bits of copyright that a song can attach to, right? At the broadest end, you have the composition and the recording. That is the two things that like copyright attaches to. Ordinarily in agreements, and not necessarily, because a lot of recording contracts are incredibly predatory. That's part of the issue that Kanye's got right now. The composition remains with the artist. How the notes are arranged, the lyrics, those remain as copyright of the artist. The recording. So when you turn on the radio and you hear Imagine Dragons Radioactive, that audio file that gets played, that is the copyright of the recording label, right? So the lyrics and the notes and whatever, the artist owns that. So they could say, yeah, if you want to do a cover, here's how you do, here's the stuff that you need, go ahead, by all means, right? But the recording label has the copyright that attaches to the recording, usually, okay? There are always exceptions to this. Sometimes artists have great relationships with their recording labels. Sometimes the recording labels use their artists as cash cows, all right? Artists giving permission does not give you the right to use the music. Don't be a fuckwit. Use copyright-free music. From me to you. Is this something that you were aware of, Titan? I think you're a musician yourself, so you probably had a good grasp of this. But yeah,
I know all that. That's why pretty much all the guys whose music I play on stream are either self-publishing. So when they have given me permission,
they're an
I have
independent
it.
artist.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about a record label. One guy in particular, he is I think he's one half of the owner of the record label.
Oh, okay.
So he was fine with his music being used, but for anything else on that label, I would have to get permission from the label or probably the artist as well.
You need both.
Maybe both.
You want both to be covered.
You'd be better to have both, but it's strange because the guy that I'm talking about there, he was actually one of the first people who followed me on Twitch. It was weird. He's like, "Oh, I'll follow you." And I was like, I was expecting him to follow, but he followed me from like the record label's Twitch account. I was like, all right then.
Pog.
That's a weird thing to have following me. Like
Pog. Record label. Nice.
But yeah, I get what you mean. A lot of the artists, like that's why I like the synthwave artists to play on stream, because I like listening to the music in the first place, but also a lot of them, because they are so small, most of them self-publish on Bandcamp and shit. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter. Like if they give you permission, you pretty much have it. There are some record labels who tightly control what gets played where, and they kind of they were very quiet during this entire thing. I saw people like asking them, like, "Hey, like where do you guys stand on this?" And they just never responded, which basically means don't play the music.
Yeah, do not play their music because their record label told them not to answer that question.
Well, no, the label itself. Like if the label itself does not answer you on Twitter, it means that they don't want to come out and say, "Yeah, don't do that because we'll strike you." They don't want to say that. No. So if they just say nothing, they're not saying yes.
They'll just take your fucking money.
If it's Twitch, they won't. They have to issue a fucking strike or whatever. But anyway,
that's it. They have no way to redirect the revenue, so they're just striking people. Now, to wrap this all up with a neat little bow, I'm not saying that all of the DMCA claims are, good riddance. Ha, streamers get wrecked, right?
No.
There are a lot of bad claims out there, claims that are not taking into account fair use or people have been screwed over, right? However, this all needs to come with the knowledge that this was happening to YouTube as early as 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
it's not new. You should have seen this coming. You should have known that this was going to happen. And the fact that, here's the thing about Twitch that people don't forget. People think Twitch is alive. It's entirely different to YouTube. No. Twitch produces the VODs and clips, which is basically a video on demand service. It's exactly the same as YouTube. Yeah? Obviously, there are huge differences. From a legal perspective, they are manufacturing video files that you can then watch at your leisure.
Wasn't there a disclaimer at the start of a lot of old videos, like if you remember VHS shit, and one part of the disclaimer was not authorized for use. I can't remember exactly what it says, but part of it was public oil rigs. I don't remember that, but I remember it saying public display or public broadcast or something like that. Like you're not allowed to play this for a fucking group of people, out in the open, privately in your home, fine, but Twitch is basically public broadcast. Anyone can just tune in.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine the music side of it would be the same, and it always would have been. So I don't understand why why so many people are like, "Oh, what the fuck?" I'm not saying that it's done them any favors. If anything, it's just we've already talked about how this just hurts discoverability for a lot of that music that falls under that, because I doubt the artists want that. They don't want that. They don't want their music to not be played, unless it's Metallica, because Lars is just a turd. But what do you mean no? Who has come out and said, "Yeah, I don't want this. I never wanted my music on any of these streams"?
I know a lot of, or I've seen. I can't say I know because I don't know these people at all, right? I've just observed their interactions on social media. But there are definitely artists who resent streamers for basically profiting off their music and not paying their due. And they get to the point where they're particularly grumpy about it, and they'll make a big fuss.
I feel like that's a very, very small.
It's a niche example
of streams. It's almost nothing. There's hardly any streamers I can think of who make their money, like profit off of playing, like just playing music that. Stop, cat.
Got a cat.
Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can.
Just launches herself onto the desk and starts howling at me. What's wrong, buddy?
What's wrong?
No, you can't walk into the mic. Go away.
Yeah. So
Look,
if you're a streamer just starting out, or if you've been around for a long time, even more so if you're a long time, if you don't have a decent source for copyright-free music, go and find one. There are heaps out there. They're usually geared towards creators. Epidemic Sound is a good one. Monster Cat has a licensing program you can use. Stream Beats by Harris Heller is good. It started off when they just released the lo-fi playlist. That shit ran me up the wall. Now he's got like 500 or something tracks. And they're all copyright free and they're all split up into different genres. Like, there's been a couple of times on the podcast where I've given Harris Heller shit. Stream Beats is one of the best things he's ever done. Hands down. I think Stream Beats is one of the greatest resources, and that makes him shit tons of money too.
it would do.
Yeah, it's one of the smartest things that he's ever done. He identified a very good need in the market, and he timed it perfectly too.
Yeah, well, that was all sort of announced and coming out, wasn't it? Way before any of the DMCA shit.
Mm-hmm. And now it's got its feet under it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's
so all those people who've been knocked over by DMCA, Harris's Stream Beast is there to fucking catch them, basically. Like,
pretty
here,
much.
just play this shit instead.
Yep.
I say play this shit, but a lot of it's not actually shit. I have given it a listen here and there, but
yeah, no, yeah, like some of it's not great, like not my style. Like the lo-fi playlist, I can't.
It's all
stand.
Personal preference. It's all
But the
personal
synthwave
preference,
playlist is pretty good. Pretty good. It's not
I
great.
don't mind some of the lo-fi stuff. It's just that's not what I listen to on stream.
Yeah,
That's
no.
all.
Yeah. Look, the MCA stuff, you should have seen it coming. Yeah, there are some bad guys in there. There's always been bad guys in there somewhere, but it's not the end of the world.
I mean, we've already covered it. Look, before we sound like too much of an asshole, I do think that it's too heavy-handed. I think that the way they went about it was fucking stupid. They should have just left it alone. Like, really, it wasn't. I don't feel like it was hurting any of those artists enough to go to these fucking lengths over. I think what I've already said was that it will push people to find other sources of music. It's going to push them to smaller artists who also have a lot of music that's worth hearing and worth paying for. And they are saying, please play my music on stream. People are going to start funneling their money in that direction. Like, I feel like this is kind of big labels shooting themselves in the foot a bit. But
Yeah,
the point you're trying to make, which I totally agree with, is this was always illegal. You never had an argument to make in your favor about this. If you're complaining about it, just like stop wasting your time.
Yep.
Stop complaining.
Yeah.
There's other music that you can use.
I sympathize with people that have to, delete years and years and years of memories and whatnot.
Yeah, that sucks.
But should have seen it coming. Should have seen it coming.
They probably also could have given people like, hey, you've got 2 weeks or a month to sort this out. Here's your warnings. Fix it.
Yeah, Twitch's
Fix it
notification
before we,
system is also kind of shit, but we are already
it's not good.
we are already over time, so I don't want to get too deep into that because I could rip on them for hours.
Forever. Yeah, fair enough.
I'm having a look at comments, and there are no comments this week.
Not from last week. No, I don't. I'm not sure. I don't know whether it's because we missed a week or whether something's going on. But views were a lot less than they normally would have been too.
Probably because we missed a week.
So I don't know. Probably because we missed a week. Yeah. Everyone thought we were dead. They gave up.
They're done. That's it.
That's it. These guys are finished. They're over.
Done. All right. Anyway, if you want to catch us, you can catch us on Twitter. Twitter at Titan, TITAN _5150 or at Viscerous TV. You can also check Titan out live on Twitch, twitch.tv/T1TAN5150 or me at youtube.com/C/Viscerous. And you can also catch the podcast on all good audio platforms as well as YouTube at the NULLSCORE YouTube channel. Anything else before we close this one out?
Yeah, don't drink all the flavors of Mountain Dew all at once.
Don't drink every dew.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Links are in the description as always, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
See ya. Holy, what do you reckon? Like, is probably the nastiest thing that guy's chugged? I need to have a look now.
Oh man, I could see this guy like.
I need to know.
I can picture this guy in like a mid-80s Monte Carlo, cruising along red light district fucking looking area. Yeah.
Hang on.
Hey baby.
I'm so sorry. I found
You wanna
this is the greatest title that he's got. The 30-pack Capri Sun Stealth Chug Challenge.
Stealth chug. What the fuck does that even mean?
And he's sponsored by Manscaped. Oh no.
The dude's hairless though. He's bald. Like, what has he got to fucking Manscape?
Oh, I love it so much. It's incredible. No.
What's the grossest thing he's chugged? See, I feel like it would be something like plain tonic water, like something fairly like, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world, but still, like, why would you do it? But out of out of a prostitute's butthole, like he got her to chug it into a butthole first, and then he just lined himself up and.
It's just nuts. This guy is incredible. He is incredible.
All right, well, there you go. There's your next thing that you're going to do on stream, I guess.
That's it.
Then get diabetes.
Giant memes.